Hello, welcome to Law and Order. My name is Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. On today's edition of the show, we will be talking about what a lot of people hate to talk about. And when they do, it's mostly done in whispers and in private clusters. Every day, news outlets churn out contents that chronicle this hydra-headed monster and gruesome act on hapless and vulnerable victims. This act is called rape. According to Amnesty International, 11,200 rape cases was reported in the year 2020, including children raped to death, and the numbers keep increasing. The recent cases of rape in Nigeria is just a harsh reminder of the reality that nowhere is safe in the country, not even our religious spaces, and this is quite saddening and terrifying. Take a look at the case of Vera Iwela Omozwa, who was raped and murdered in the church. Barakat Bello got raped and murdered in her own house. Karin Akbaha, in her school, she was raped, and that led to her death. Aisha Umar also suffered the same unfortunate fate, and there are so many more cases. Today, we will begin the show with the story of Wanda Abe, who was molested when she was just 6 years old. And as an adult, she was also raped multiple times.
Started when I was a little girl. My mom was a student at the time, so because she married really early, she married at the age of 15, 16. So she was in school at the same time and still having children. So a lot of times she had to be in school. So we spent more time with our father early years. So my mom would be in school in a different local government in Benue and would be with my dad and the nanny. So we had this particular female nanny. He's also a relative of my father. So she was young, but she would always molest me. Anytime my dad is not home, and maybe my older siblings, I have two older siblings, maybe they're playing outside or maybe have lesson, she would just take advantage of that time and like drag me into the room to give her oral sex. So she did that, and she would always threaten me not to talk about it because I didn't like it, but I had to do it. Sometimes even when she was on her period, she would make me do that. So I would be withdrawn sometimes I'm playful. And there was this fateful day my mom was around. She was on holiday, and so she came home. So she went to make her hair on a Saturday morning. I can't forget. So she called me into the room as a nanny that I should do this, like it's been a while. So I told her I was going to report to my mom, and she threatened me not to talk about it. So I told her today I must report to my mom. I'm not going to be quiet about it. I don't like what you do to me, so I'm going to tell. Thank God she's around, so I'll let her know when she's back. And so she was boiling water, bath water for us, and she carried the water like she wanted to mix it for us, take her bath, and she poured it on me. And I suffered hot water burns. If I take off my dress, you actually see scars. This happened when I was 6. I didn't go to school for 1 year. I remember I was supposed to be going to grade 1 after pre-primary, and I couldn't resume with my mates. So I was 6 going on 7 when this happened. So I didn't go to school for a year. I remember I suffered very well, and I still couldn't talk about it because she still threatened me. I was wearing a tight dress, and when she poured that water on me, it was burning my skin. By the time I took off the dress, my skin was going along with it. And so, but I still wanted to report because I just felt this was it. And then she said, don't say anything about this incident. I'm going to narrate to your mom, your parents, when they come home, exactly what happened. And if you talk about it, even in my absence, you will die. So that fear lived with me because we had actually lost a very close uncle that period. So I came to understand death, that you will never see that person. So that put a lot of fear in me, and I knew I didn't want to die at that age. So I didn't talk about it. So when my parents came and asked what happened, she said it was an accident. And they bought the story, of course. I couldn't say anything. I just had to agree that yes, it was an accident. But she had to go shortly after that because my parents blamed her for being careless. So she had to go back to her parents. But for 1 year, I didn't go to school, like I said. And it wasn't funny, even with my siblings. And then after that, I finally resumed school. My mates were ahead of me. That was a lot for me to take because, of course, I felt like a failure, but I didn't want to think about the other things that happened. Yes. I felt like how my mates become my seniors. So those things kind of made me depressed from time to time, but I didn't know about depression, so I couldn't really call it depression at that age. And I was molested when I was in primary 4 by a school typist. He called me. Yes, after that experience. He just called me to his office and I was wearing a pinafore and he said I should raise my dress. He wanted to see my pants and I said, what for? He said he wanted to check if I had pubic hairs. And I said, I don't have any hairs.
How old were you then?
I was 9. I was 9. Yeah, I was 9. So he raised my dress and he put his finger, but he didn't penetrate. But that was it. Like for that I didn't keep quiet about it. I reported immediately to my teacher because I was really close to her. So I told her what happened that morning and I didn't like. So she took it up immediately and the man got fired. So I was really happy. That to me that was justice. Nothing else would have been better justice at that age. And then when I got to university, several sexual harassments, lecturers, students. And there was this particular cult guy that put a gun to my head. He wanted to have me. And I was already depressed. That was my 200 level. I was depressed because of the several sexual harassments from lecturers affecting my grades. So I actually gave him a go ahead to shoot me and have my corpse because I was tired. Like I was already tired by second year. And then he was shocked at what I said. He didn't expect that. And then he said, I'm not going to touch you today, I'll let you go. And he did not. He got expelled. I reported quietly and my dad acted and he was expelled without my name being mentioned. I'm sure he had harassed several other people, so he couldn't really point out who really set him up. And then my third year, I had to go for a surgery, an appendicitis surgery. And when I got to the hospital, I know there were a team of doctors that worked, but there was one particular one who claimed that he noticed me and he was among those ones that took care of me when I was in the theater, but I don't remember him. He followed me to school. He would come to school with his friends and send for me. I would greet him, but I was a bit comfortable with him because his older brother was friends with my father when I was a little child, so I just felt this is family. We're family friends. I mean, we used to play with his older brother's kids, so he offered me help because I knew I had several checkups, and you know how government hospital is. You go there in the morning and that means the whole day is cancelled. I didn't want to miss my lectures that day because I knew I had missed school for like 2 weeks. So he said, don't worry, you don't have to come to the hospital to queue up just for a checkup. I'll take care of it. So I was really happy. And he said I didn't have to also be there in the morning. What time will I finish my lectures? I gave him the time and he came to school to pick me. So I assumed that we were driving to the hospital and I was going to have it really easy. But the route he took was not the way to the hospital, so I questioned where he was going and he said he was going to his house actually. I said, why was he going home? He said because the hospital, he's on call that day and it's really tight. Once he gets there, everybody will want his attention, so he just wanted to sort me out so that he can go back quickly. So I said okay. So I trusted him. I was still a virgin at the time. That was my third year. So he took me home and once he entered the house, he locked the door. I was worried. I was concerned because I had several rape attempts, so locking the door just automatically puts fear in me. So I asked him why he locks the door. He said he doesn't live alone. He has flatmates, his brother. So they normally remove the key when they enter the house, so everybody can have access to open the door. So I said okay. So I sat down on the couch And he went inside his room and then he opened the door like halfway and then asked me to come in. I was like, but there's nobody at home. I think it'd be better to do it here. He said, no, come in. I said, okay. So I went and I was wearing a pink dress. So I walked into his room, and once I entered the room, immediately I entered the room, he locked the door. And that also put fear in me because I was wondering who was also sharing his room with him. But before I could try to get the door, his clothes were off already. He was already half naked when he actually wanted me inside the room. He already had it planned out. So when I saw him in that state, I was frightened, I was nervous, everything ran through my mind. And I started begging, please don't do anything to me. I've not done this before my whole life. Please just have mercy on me today. Any other day it can happen, but not right now. I don't feel strong. I don't have all the strength. I'm just recovering from this surgery. I may not be able to do what you want me to do. Moreover, I don't have this experience. He said, relax, I'll take care of you. But he was without clothes, so I knew that I was in trouble. And so he pushed me to his bed. I tried to struggle as much as I could, but at the same time I was in pain because I had not recovered fully and he had his way. So my dress was messed up because I was wearing a very light pink dress. I knew something happened, but I was still in denial. I wanted to believe that my period just came because I had blood stains everywhere on the bed. So he left the house. He just entered the bathroom and said, sorry, I didn't know you were a virgin. I didn't believe you when you said it. But I was crying. So he just changed and left me in the house, the open house, to the hospital. I knew I could not go back to school because my dress was stained, and you know how menstrual shaming too can be. So I just sat outside the house waiting for a little darkness so that I could pick a bike and go back to school. And so once it was getting a bit late, I boarded the bike and went back to school. But that was hard on me because that was not what I bargained for. That was not what I wanted to. And I also didn't want to talk about it. I couldn't tell my parents about it because it happened in his house. I didn't know what they would think because my dad was very strict growing up. So I just didn't know how to present it to him for him to believe that I didn't go there for anything. So it ate me up. I didn't attend lectures for 2 weeks. And my roommates noticed, why are you not going to school? What's going on? Are you sick? So I opened up to one of them and she just laughed. So you've been keeping yourself all this while. What are you keeping yourself for? Shake it off. We are not virgins. So why should you even worry? Why are you sober? I mean, the guy helped you. But there was this pain within me. But the way she put it, I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one. Okay, so that kind of cushioned it a bit.
Did you ever tell your parents about all of this when all this happened?
I told them when I was 32. Because I opened up to someone, an outsider, at that age, and nothing happened to me. So I believed the lie that I was going to die if I talked about it for so long. And then when I talked about it and nothing happened, I said, okay, so my parents need to know this. So I went home and I started to tell my dad. I told him I needed to tell him something that is eating me up, and I'm also living with unforgiveness. And is someone who is related and still comes around from time to time. So I just think I need to tell him, maybe he can help out. So I told him about the child molestation part and he passed out. So I couldn't tell him about the rape at that age. So they got to know about the rape through the media, sharing my stories and all. And then he's like, why didn't you tell me all this while? Why did you keep it to yourself?
Today, Wanda Abe is now a source of strength to others who have gone through what she has gone through in the past through her foundation, the Wanda Abe Foundation. But that is not the case for a 13-year-old minor who was raped when she was just 12 years old.
Thank you so much for granting us this. And
I hate to be the one making you relive this awful memories that you have. Those awful memories, it's really terrible. But you need to speak up. How old are you?
I'm 13 years old.
So what happened?
In the evening, I was at home, so one girl that normally comes to our house come and met my mom and told her that please let me follow and come outside so that I will stay outside and gist a little. So she kept on disturbing my mom and my mom said no. Then when she came back for the last time, my mom said okay, since she's disturbing her, that she follow her, that let me go with her, but let us not stay. So when we went, was about 4 of us there. So she went and was talking to another boys. Then me and one small girl, our neighbor was now playing outside. So one boy that was living in the chief palace came and called us. We refused to go. Then the girl that come and took me outside now said that we should go and hear what is happening. When we now went, we didn't enter inside the compound. We stand at the gate. We did not know that the boy was hiding beside the gate. When we went, he drew me and the girl inside the gate. The girl now ran and come outside, now hold me and drag me inside his room.
No, this boy you're talking about, have you met him before? Is this somebody you interact with?
Yes, he used to come to our compound to meet his friends.
Okay, so he lives around the same area as you?
Yes.
Okay, so when he dragged you into the gate, what happened?
Then he dragged me and went and removed my clothes.
Inside the gate, there was nobody around?
No, there was nobody. Like the gate was 2 gates. Outside was the children rooms. The east side is their father and their mother room. So when you are shouting outside, they will not hear you because the east side gate is far. It's not that close that they will hear you.
Okay. So when he dragged you in, what happened?
He now off my clothes. I now slept with me, now have sex with me.
And you were shouting?
Yes.
Or nobody heard your screams, rather. So that was your first experience, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you feel?
I felt bad.
What happened after that? When he was done with his horrible act, how did you come out of that house?
When he's done, he now said I should go out. When I now go out, I now run and go and told my mom that this is what happened. She now called the girl that went together and asked her. Then the girl now said that she forgot to come and tell her that this is what happened. Then immediately, my mother rushed and bathed me and checked me. We went to a chemist. She bought some drugs for me. Then from there, she now saw.
Calm down, okay? Just calm down, okay? Calm down.
She now saw some people number and she called them. They now directed her. We went there. So the people connected us with some NGOs and they are the one that was taking care of me. They take me to the hospital. Every time they bought drugs for me that will be taken.
Okay. Did that affect you in so many ways? How old are you? Before we get into that, how old were you then?
I was 12, almost clocking to 13.
So this didn't happen in 2021?
Yes, that was March.
So, did you ever see this boy that did this to you?
After that, I still saw him. He used to come to our compound and still be threatening me and my mother.
Why is he threatening you?
Because some people used to tell him that my mother is taking action about the case, so he used to come and be threatening my mother.
So everybody knew that I was looking for her. So when they saw her, I said, your mommy is looking for you everywhere. So when she came, I just came out of the house and saw her with that anger of looking for her. I just heard her and started beating her. I said, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? So people came, the same boy that did this thing came with her and was begging me, say, Mommy, she went with that girl, she went to escort that girl. I said, no, she is smaller than that girl. She cannot go to escort that girl that far because her house is a bit far from our own. Then who will escort her back? So the boy now was saying, don't beat her, Mommy, don't beat her. She went with that. So I beat her, people came and begged me. So I said, okay, remove all your clothes that you wear, put them outside. So she put all the trousers outside. So it was from the trousers that I saw some things I didn't expect, whitish on her trousers. So that was that night that this thing happened. I didn't take any action. So the following day, this same boy again brought another boy. And he came like pretending we used to sell pure water, that I want to buy pure water. And now called her to sell pure water for me. So now called her outside, give to the other boy again. After he finished doing what he wanted, now give her to another boy again. So she was outside the backyard. Now I came and said, they want to. I said, what are you doing in the backyard? It was then that I asked her, I said, what are you doing with that boy? Saying, this is what happened yesterday, and this boy now brought his friend again. And so I said, okay, what happened? He said, this boy didn't do anything. Is that other boy yesterday? I said, okay. That was when I went to the police. It was in the night. So when I reported, the police said, I made the OC. He said, it's in the night, so I should just manage that. If they go now, they can't see the boy. So the following day, I went back again. I came with the policeman. He now ran away. He beat me and the policeman and ran away. So we went back to the station. They sent 2 policemen that came with us again. So when he saw us, now he insulted us. He's going to kidnap us. He's going to kill us and run away. So many threats. So he ran again. So we didn't see him. He would come to our compound and insult us, threaten us. He's going to kill. I said, I'm going to report him to the police. He will kidnap us. He will kill us. So then we are afraid. Sometimes we run and look for a place to go and sleep.
During the course of interviewing the mom, we found out that she was also a rape victim.
Even I myself, as old as I am, when I was about 30-something, I had a case like this, but then I didn't know anything about it, so I kept it right in the police station.
Were you working for the police then?
No, something happened. And so when I went to report to the police, the DPO now detained me there with the young man that this thing happened between us, and now forced the guy to rape me right in his front.
Did this happen in the Federal Capital Territory?
Yes, airport. Police station in airport.
This happened in airport?
Yes. In the office of the DPO. So then I didn't know anything. I was even shy. Even a newspaper came to carry it, to cover it. Was it, I've forgotten this newspaper. Because it was even in the newspaper.
Till the time of airing this program, the perpetrator is still at large because he has not been found by the police. That's a statement from the police that we got. And then the next victim did not live to tell her story. Aisha Umar, a female internally displaced person in Borno State, according to reports, took her own life after allegedly being raped by an official of an international non-governmental organization. Take a look.
It was on this patient bed of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, Aisha Umar struggled to survive from a stabbed wound. Doctors spent more than 2 hours to resuscitate her to life, but she gave up at midnight. The hospital said it has unraveled the cause of death and it's drafting an autopsy report which will be made available to the police.
She was transfused up to 2 pints of blood, and she's being prepared for exploratory laparotomy to unravel the type of injury within the abdomen that may lead to that bleeding. But as she was being prepared, because of the massive bleeding, she died before reaching the theater after all the formalities from the magistrate court. So now we have sent that coroner's permission to our pathologist, and as we speak now, the coroner is the pathologist and they are preparing to do the autopsy.
Before her death, she was lured into the residence of an NGO worker named Huzaif Adam, where the incident happened. Aisha's mother is calling for justice.
I was lying down in the house when I asked her to wash the plates for me, but she said she was going to Islamia school and they will close 10-11 p.m. Then I told her when she returns, she should do it. Later I heard she went to pay someone a visit and we heard her death. Mine has been taken. I demand the government to take action. I'm pleading.
He took his personal car together with one of her friends. They were about taking her to the hospital, but unfortunately they followed one way. As they were rushing to the hospital, they crushed a boy on their way. Although the accident was serious but not fatal, because the boy is now alive and receiving or responding to treatment. Accusing him, he is a suspect of 3 different offenses. Now, he is a suspect of rape, culpable homicide, as well as causing serious accident. But he is still innocent until proven guilty.
Despite the Nigerian authorities' declaration of a state of emergency on sexual and gender-based violence, rape persists at crisis levels, with most survivors denied justice, rapists avoiding prosecution, and hundreds of cases of rape going unreported due to pervasive corruption, stigma, and victim blaming. We must act now. We must also keep in mind that rape is a serious crime in Nigeria. Serious consequences await perpetrators. So on our subsequent edition, we'll be looking at the law and rape in Nigeria. And this program is being streamed live on YouTube. You can drop your questions, or if you want to share your story with us, drop it on our social media handles displayed on your screen. If you have questions as well, do well to drop your questions there. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martia Umar. Bye for now.